We have now 2 spines to offer you. I'm really excited about our spines. And I actually want to thank Corey Allender, one of our local national award-winning quilters here in St. George, who helped me design these 2 tools. Now, the philosophy we used in designing these was any ruler over 12 inches, 13 inches does get harder to handle. So we really strive to keep them shorter so we can manage them easier when we're using them. So I'm going to start with this large one here. And I'll actually start with the very deep spine. This would be appropriate for a very large border. I have a 10-inch space here marked off on my quilt top, so I'll use it there. This is really a little big for it. Again, I have my throw plate on, my extension, my base plate, very, very important anytime we use rulers. It's for both safety and to have better results, to have a nice surface for holding that ruler, but it's really required when you use any of these tools. All right, so I'm just gonna give you a quick demo here. We have etch lines right on the spine template. So if I put those edge lines right on my center line and then just walk my hand with my template as I move, I can manage this one just fine. I have to walk my hand a little bit as I go. And then I stop, see the stop place in the ruler. We gave you an actual stopping place. If I just lift my ruler and move it to the stop on the other side, I am assured I'm going to have a continuous spine. So you always know when to start and stop. And you don't have to worry about it. As long as you're back lined up on your center line, off you go again. I don't even have to turn off my machine. I could just quickly move it to the next one and go again. So you can see now this spine's ready to be feathered or leafed or whatever design you want to put on it. I went ahead and did one for you. This one I just did a simple feather. As you can see, like I left a 10-inch opening, and if you're going to feather this small, this one probably could have been in an 8-inch border, you know, or this one's really ripe for doing some fill in here if I'm going to do it in such a large border. But just gives you a quick example of what you can do with one of these spines. Okay, now I'm going to flip the ruler over and show you the spine on the other side. This spine is about a 4-inch long circle in this direction with about a 2-inch depth. Okay, so I call it a 4x2 as opposed to the one down here was 3x3. It was 3 inches in both directions. Okay, I'm also going to quickly show you how I would actually use this spine to turn the corner on it. If I was doing a border in a quilt, how I would actually set this up so I can turn the corner and continue down the corner. The way I would first do it is I would go ahead and mark my center line again on my quilt. Here is my center line. I actually used a ruler and actually measured it out earlier. This is a 6-inch border, so 3 inches in, I drew lines in both directions. Now, since I am using a 4-inch circle here, I went and got my 4-inch circle template, and I lay it down. And the 2 things I like to do is notice how when I put my center here, I'm about this far above the center line. Well, then I would want this arc to be about that far above, and I just eye it. We're quilters, you know, this isn't an exacting process. And this is the method I use. I'm sure there are other methods out there to use. I lay it down and I actually draw myself that circle at least to the point where I cross these lines maybe by about an inch. So I have a place now is I'm going to target merging this curve into this curve. Now I have a lot of latitude how I do it, and I certainly can reshape it. I don't have to follow that circle. It just gives me a general idea of where I want to start and stop this spine. And if I want it to be real exact, maybe I'm making a show quilt today and I wanted to get this just perfect. I might even kind of eye a dry run with this. I might kind of sit here and try to see how I'm going to merge this into there, this line into this line, and then see in the end where I would land on the other side. Maybe I want to make sure when I get over here I can work with this. Yeah, and I could work with this real nice. See that? If I would just curve it and then curve it on up into here. So I like this spacing. It would tell me how much fudging I have to do on this guy to get him to fit between the two spaces. That was just a little dry run. All right? So then I would go ahead and start. So I know I'm going to come out, saying it was the inner circle. I would just start somewhere in here, or I could even choose to do the part of the circle first, but I tend to do them after the fact. I would go ahead, pull my needle up somewhere in here. Just for today, I'll do a couple secure stitches here so I can talk to you at the same time. Okay, so then line up my etches on my center line. And I will ease in. See, because I know later when I come to do my corner, I can ease that line into this line. Okay, then off I go. And again, I'm walking my hand along my ruler. Get to the stop point. Just move her down. Line up those center lines. Come on down. Whoops, I'm just drifting a little bit. Come on down, and when you drift, that's okay, just correct. Remember, these are going to be feathered and leafed out. Nobody is going to notice exact placement on a center line. There is some forgiveness in this. And then when I get to down here, I would find a piece of the curve that merges into my circle. So maybe I would start, and I could even tilt this a little bit. Maybe I would go like up to here, grab my circle and go ahead and make it. And it's okay if it isn't exactly perfect. Okay, and then I make my circle and then go ahead and use my templates going down. Okay, so here's an example of that spine where I actually feathered it out. This time I used formal feathers. Could have used leaves, I could use simple feathers, whatever method you want to do. But just gives you a quick example how you could do that. And you can see how I turned the corners and just kept on going. Okay, and then this here is our smaller spine ruler. Very similar to the previous one, just the arcs are different, the circles are different. I use this 1 inch to do this small spine right here and put these small feathers in here. Same method I just showed you with the larger one. I could have opted to do a 2 inch. This would give me a 2 inch spine. Now a 2 inch spine probably goes in a 4 inch border and so forth. This actually here measures 3 inches and you can see it holds the 1 inch very nicely. I could have come in and made it a little tighter, but just gives you a feel for the size.